Hey guys, once more, Steve here again from CELTAhelper.com, and another question and another answer for you about the CELTA course. So this time I've had a question from a lot of people that I didn't really expect. It was found a bit surprising, but after doing some research, it was actually interesting to see that there were some points definitely to consider for this question, which I, as I said, never considered before. And the question is this: where is the best place to take the CELTA, and does it matter? Is there any difference in where I take it? So before you stop and say, well, no, because all CELTA centres are equal, they give you a CELTA certificate with the Cambridge stamp on it, and I agree, that should be the case, there are some things to consider beyond that. Now, I've noticed that this is particularly a concern for non-native speakers, especially those who are not based in an English-speaking country. They keep saying to me, will it be better if I'm taking it in the UK or in Australia, wherever, than if I take it in my country? I've heard that it is. Many people have said that it is. Now, I think that's a lot of hearsay and rumours, but there are some things to consider with this. So first of all, let's look at employment. And from an employer's perspective, they really should only ask to see the CELTA Cambridge certificate. Okay. Now, if they don't only want to see that, if they want to see something from the UK or an English, a country where English is the first language, then you should probably question, do I really want to work for these people? Because I'm not sure if they really understand what the CELTA is all about. And two, you can ask them that, the prospective employers, before you take the course. So if the people you are planning to work for, who are the only ones maybe in your area, and they say, no, you must get it from this country, then that can help factor into your decision. Hopefully it shouldn't change it, because they should just accept it from anywhere. But you can certainly ask them before you apply. The other one then is that this might also, another point to consider is the quality of the course. Now, in terms of quality, you may find that there are some courses that have a much better reputation, or I should say CELTA centres, than others. Now, this is pretty common, yeah? It's hard for a CELTA centre to get accredited by Cambridge, and of course you should only be doing it with accredited centres, but some have better reputations than others. For example, I've heard a lot of positive things about IH London, and I've got an article on about finding genuine reviews for your CELTA courses to help you determine which are the best. But then, of course, IH London is in one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's not the most ideal for many people. But there's lots of CELTA centres out there, and I'm sure you can find a good one based on reviews and other people who've been. But even so, if you're not worried about the employment perspective, have a look at the reviews, because there is some variation for sure. Yes, there are certain personalities, and I've heard some people say, and I'm not sure whether to believe this, but for example, certain CELTA centres in Prague are easier than other places. The tutors are less harsh, a bit more lenient. I'm not sure how much they can be, because they have to follow such strict guidelines from a CELTA assessment perspective. But either way, there are things to consider in terms of the quality of the course. So that might determine where you want to take your CELTA course. Another point in that, actually, I should add, is that some CELTA centres routinely have smaller courses, maybe at certain times of the year. So if you want to ask, you can certainly question or email them and ask, how many people are you expecting for this course? When I did mine, there was about 12 people. That was fine. I think the maximum is maybe 18. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a CELTA tutor, so I'll have to double check that. But I've heard people doing a CELTA course with 6 people, which to me sounds really nice, because it's a small, close-knit group and it's not too intense. The tutors should have a bit more time for you, and so on. So definitely consider the size of the CELTA course as a factor in where to take it. And you can ask lots of questions. And again, I've got an article about essential questions you can ask to CELTA courses before you start. And then one final point, actually, especially for non-native speakers is your English level and experience. Now, to get on the course, of course, you need a minimum level of English, and there are certain CELTA course requirements that everyone must meet. However, if you're not too confident in speaking, then going to an English-speaking country to take the course could obviously be beneficial to you during the course. So what do I mean? Perhaps if you go, let's say, to London, for example, and you are there the whole time you're taking the course, and outside of the course you're just speaking English, if you're not the most confident, that should help you, because you're going to be interacting with people all the time, and you will be 110% in CELTA and English mode. So that could certainly benefit you. In terms of, future as well, career progression, perhaps that also might look more beneficial than if you stay in your own country. I don't know. That one is for you to decide on, but obviously there's going to be an added cost flying abroad if you're not based in, for example, the UK. So clearly there's lots of things for you to consider there. And there is one other thing that you might not have considered that I hadn't, and someone mentioned it in a conversation I was having while reading about these ideas, was that if your country is likely, let me say that again. If CELTA centres in your country only generally have students from your country, then your teaching practice will only be with people who speak one language, most likely. So let's say you're in the Middle East, and most of the students you will be teaching speak the same language as you. Now, clearly, many of you will go on to teach people who speak your own language if you're a non-native speaker. However, if you go somewhere like the UK, Australia, again, English language countries, then the chances are that you're going to have a much more varied and diverse group of learners in that teaching practice session. So that does a couple of things. That shows then that you can teach to anyone, and that you're certainly not relying on your language, although you probably wouldn't get through the CELTA if you did. But it also shows that then you have an understanding of learners' problems from other languages as well, because many people like to rely on their knowledge of their own language, if they're a non-native speaker, to help them get through. But if you do that and you've got a wide, diverse, eclectic mix of languages in there, then you have to be aware of so many more different issues relating to many other languages. So that might be a positive for you as well if you leave a country that speaks your own language. Hope that was clear. And then the last thing, of course, where to take it. You can shop around for a cheaper price course, because they are not all priced the same. And I've recently done an article on the cost of CELTA courses, so please check that out if you want to know. But basically the cheapest ones I found were in Prague, Thailand, and I've also been told about ones in Egypt, a little bit more expensive but very close to that price as well. So you can shop around to find a cheaper price course. However, again, people always say, well, the cost of the course, does that affect the quality? Who knows? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's for you to research, but there you have it. So in summary, where to take the course. Again, most often it's non-native speakers who are worried about this. Just think about your future employment. Get in touch with those employers if you need. Would it be better for your personal development to take the course abroad? Are there better quality courses out there if you move around and have a look at reviews and think about the size of the courses or the number of trainees that will be on it? And will it better your level as well to help you in the future with English and be more confident? And of course, can you find a cheaper course that might be beneficial for you in terms of saving some money? So there's a lot to think about there. Much of it I'd not even considered. So I hope that was helpful. And any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.